install the latest version of Drupal onto my server using SSH? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go to the Drupal site, and that's at drupal.org, and we're going to check out what is indeed the latest version of Drupal, because it's not always obvious. I'm going to click on Get Started with Drupal, and that will bring us there eventually. Click on Download Drupal. That actually brings us straight through to this page. You can actually type this in directly if you don't feel like clicking through. We want to go drupal.org/project/Drupal. This is where we have the information that we need. If we scroll down a little bit more here, you'll see list of downloads. Drupal is constantly under development. That's a great thing about open source software. Currently, we're about mid-July right now. We're currently up to version 7.14. This is the latest stable version that's available, and this is the version we want. If I hover over this tarball, this tar.gz file right here, we'll see in the lower left-hand corner down there, we'll see an address. That's an http blah 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 ftp.drupal.org blah blah blah. And the last part, see the last part that says Drupal-7.14. That's something we need to pay attention to, okay? Because the version number is always written into the name of the file. And this matters because we want to always download the latest version. And so you need to actually kind of take the time to go here and check to see what the latest version is. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to right click on here and I'm going to copy the link address just so that we have that. And you know what, while I'm at it, why don't I just temporarily write that down here in my important information file. I'll come back to that later, okay? But that's going to be useful information to have. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start up terminal. Again, to do that, under Go, the Utilities folder. If you're using Windows machine, you're going to start up PuTTY. I'm just going to start up my terminal window here. And while we're at it, why don't we go ahead and start up CyberDuck as well too, so we can kind of visualize what's going on. We don't actually need CyberDuck open. I just like having it open. When you're learning, it's a great tool, especially when you're learning how to use the shell here. It's just a really nice tool to kind of visualize what you're doing, okay? Just so you feel comfortable and you know what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and open a new connection here. I've got my shell user account information here. Oops, actually, let's write down robobunny.attack.com first. Username is test user. Crazy long password goes here. Click on connect. And we're going to log in now. There's our web server, and there's our subdomain right here. I'm going to double click on here, and you'll see we've actually already installed WordPress. What we would like to do is put a new directory in here called Drupal, and install Drupal in this directory. So that if you go to test.robobunnyAttack.com/WordPress, you'll see our WordPress site. And if you go to test.robobunnyAttack.com/Drupal, you'll see our Drupal site. Okay? Well, we're not going to do this through FTP. We're going to do it the cool, fun way through SSH. First thing we need to do now is we actually need to log in to our web server via SSH this time. So to do that, we're going to use the SSH command. And we need to write our username. Why don't I just resize that a little bit? There's our username right there. I'm going to copy that, paste that right in there. We're going to use the @ symbol. And then we need to write our actual domain name, which in this case is robobunny.attack.com. Okay? That is giving the command that we want to SSH over to robobunnyAttack.com using this test user account. Let's hit enter. And because this isn't our first time logging in, we don't get all that other mumbo jumbo. They just say, hey, I know who you are. What's your password again? And then I'll say, here's my password. Here's a crazy long password. There it is. I've pasted it in there. It doesn't show up. That's a feature of Terminal, okay, security feature. But once I've pasted it in, I need to hit enter. And there we go. We've logged in. So we're logged in. That's all good, okay? Now what we have to do is we need to actually do a little bit of thinking here, okay? We need to download we want to download this file, the series of files, the Drupal files, onto our server. Now the way that people normally do it, or the way you can do it, is you could just download this file to your computer, and then you could extract it, and then you could upload all those files to a directory called Drupal here via FTP. That's perfectly possible to do it that way. It will take you forever. Well, maybe not forever. It's going to take you at least half an hour to do that, depending on your internet connection. We're going to skip one step. The step that we don't need to do here is we don't technically need to download those files to our computer. We could instead, wouldn't it be cool if instead we could just send a command and say, hey, get the files from the Drupal.org site and put them straight on my server without having to download them to my computer. That would be cool, wouldn't it? And there is a command to do that. In SSH, the command is wget. Okay, so just think of it like webget or something. Like, I don't know what it actually stands for. Maybe that's what it stands for. And then what we need to do is we need to write down the address. Okay, this is where this address that we copied here, this is the address we want to pop in. But I want you to be careful, okay? I've actually pasted all these commands in the show notes below this video. But you'll notice that there I don't specify the version number because I don't know what the version number is going to be when you go and do this, okay? This is where you need to put your thinking cap on. You need to make sure you've got the correct version number right here. In our case, we've copied this here, so we're going to go ahead and copy this right here. And we're going to say, okay, so we're giving the command to go get this file, which is the latest file, and put it on my server. Actually, before we do that, I've made a mistake. Let's not do that. Let's delete all this because we've logged in, but where are we right now? We're actually in the wrong location. If we hit LS, we'll see that we're actually just at the top level. I almost made a great big boo-boo there. See? We're actually at this level. It does us no good to download the files right there. We actually want to download them inside here, don't we? So to do this, we need to change directory. Let's go cd test.robobunny.attack.com. There we go. ls. Now we're in the correct directory. Phew. That was a close one. Sometimes it's good to see me make mistakes, right? Because then you can learn from that. All right. It's all good. What were we doing? Oh, yeah. We wanted to get that file, the Drupal files, into a directory here called Drupal. Let's go ahead and use the wget command now for that. Okay, and this is the address where we want to get that tarball. Okay, that compressed file. Going to paste that right in there. That looks correct to me. I'm going to go ahead and hit return now, and it's telling you, look at that, 2.2 seconds it took to do that. I guarantee you it would take you longer than 2.2 seconds to do that. So what just happened? Well, you just sent a command to the server to go get that file from Drupal.org and put it directly on your server. That's the power of using the command line or SSH. I think that's pretty cool. Let's make sure that it's actually there. I'm going to hit LS just to list all the files, and there it is right there. There's that file. Let's go ahead and, why is it not showing up here? Because we haven't hit refresh. Let's hit refresh. There it is. Okay. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. Okay, so, but that doesn't do us much good because it's still compressed. We need to uncompress it. And the command to do that is type this out carefully, or better yet, copy and paste it from the show notes below. tar, and then -sign z, x, v, f, and then a space. And then this is where we need to actually just type out this part, because this is the file. This is the name of the file right here. Okay, Drupal-7.14.tar.gz. And so you can't just cut and paste that from the show notes below. You actually need to replace the version number in there. So in this case, I know that it's, whoops, oh, what have I done? I copied the wrong thing. Let's delete that. Oh no, I'm ruining my screencast. I'm making a lot of mistakes today. It's all good. Drupal-7.14.tar.gz. There we go. Let's double check to make sure that's correct. Drupal.7.14.tar.gz. That's what that is right there. And this command right here, that's just basically going to uncompress this file. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit return. Look at all these files. Crazy. Did you see all those files? That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and hit ls. And now we have 6 items here. Let's go ahead and hit refresh here and verify. Yes, indeed, we have that. Okay. We have this folder called Drupal-7.14. That's not actually what we want to call it, right? We actually just wanted to call it Drupal. So there's a number of different ways to do this. This is where we can, You know, there's nothing wrong with actually, oops, I didn't mean to open a new connection. There's nothing wrong with actually just renaming it within FTP if you want. So I'm just going to click once on it, and I'm going to just rename this to just Drupal. And there we go. That's pretty quick. Renaming folders is a really, really fast thing. There's nothing wrong with doing that via FTP. Okay, so I've just renamed that folder to Drupal. That's all good. What do we do with that? We want to delete this, right? We could delete it through here, or why don't I show you how to delete files through here? Be careful when you're deleting files through the terminal. There is no undo. Well, there's no undo in FTP either, but I don't know. Somehow it just seems scarier in the command line. The command for removing this file is just rm for remove, -f, and then a space, and then we just type the name of the file you want to remove. So in this case, it's Drupal, whoops, spell it right, Drupal -7.14.tar.gz. And that's just the archive. We don't need it anymore. We've already uncompressed it. All the files are inside here. And the file should be inside there. Let's hit refresh. There it is. Okay, see all the files. If CyberDuck is not acting the way you think it should be acting, just hit refresh. Okay. So we've got all those files there. We don't need this archive anymore, so let's go ahead and get rid of it. So this command will remove the Drupal -7.14.tar.gz archive file. Let's hit return, and doesn't look like it did anything, but if I do an ls, I can see that I now only have 5 items there. Let's go ahead and hit refresh here to see. There we go. So we now have Drupal installed right here. That's pretty cool, eh? And WordPress installed right here. Only Drupal hasn't been fully configured yet. That's coming up in the next screencast, so I hope you'll come back for that. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.